Okay, everyone, welcome to another coffee talk. So glad we could finally meet, and I know it's been a while. Um, so today I just want to um, talk a little bit about um, our power as women. Yesterday I was reading an article which was really upsetting. Um, it was a woman, she posted on Facebook and she was calling out for help, basically like screaming for help. And she's going through physical abuse and, well, it's a whole host of abuse. Um, so if you change your decision, you can change everything in your life. And a lot of time, we don't take control of our life. We allow other people to control our life because a lot of time we end up in situation because we're trying to please people. So this person, she was married to somebody that's wealthy or seems well off, I believe. And she was saying, he was beating up on her, stomping her. If the food is not cooked right, if it's not hot when he gets home, he beat on her. Um, Basically it's like slavery. Like the whole way that she described the way she's being treated is like a slave. And it it's not just the physical abuse, it's the mental abuse and the emotional abuse because he keeps telling her that she's nothing and all these derogatory stuff that he tells her, and she seems to believe it. And then he started threatening to kill their kids. Um and she finally left. I think she stayed in that relationship for over 10 years, I believe. I'm not sure how long exactly it is. Yeah. She stayed for like over 10 years, and she made several complaints to the police and nobody's doing anything. And she got like people telling her, "Oh, you must really like the beaten. That's why you stayed." Like, isn't that so sad? Like,
In the Quran, it is a letter from Allah to you.
it's just it's just crazy the way we get trapped in cycle of abuse. It's not just physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, and excuses we make. Because as I was reading both, she's still looking for help. She was talking about, um, she was still trying to make excuses for him, for her abuser. And I guess it's because she hasn't realized her value. And she is screaming for help. She's asking people to like assist her because she's afraid that he's going to find her. Because she ran away with her two kids and she's afraid that he's going to find her, and then maybe murder her and her kids. And this is something that's common from where I come from in my community back home in Guyana. It's like physical abuse is normal. I remember when I was working at the community hospital, there was this woman that came in with her arm broken, and she was saying, you know, like the nurse was telling her, we can call the police. Like, you shouldn't tolerate this. And she's like, no, no, no. This is how he show love to me. If he doesn't hit me, he doesn't love me. And I was thinking to myself, like, it's you have to be so messed up in the head to actually believe something like that. And it is normal from where I come from for physical abuse to happen. It happens all the time. Like, people drink a lot of alcohol, they get intoxicated, they beat up on your wife, the physical abuse, the verbal abuse, it's there. I grew up around it. Um and it was something that I said I would never tolerate. But, it's like you're always, and I think I can see it from the perspective of these women. It's like you want to be loved so bad that you're willing to tolerate anything. Because after the abuse, the person would come back and say, "Oh, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I love you, whatever," and be so nice. And that's what keep women stuck in this cycle. Walaikum assalam, Aisha. Yeah, so that's what keep women stuck in this cycle. And I feel like a lot of women don't have the support. Um, when they're trapped like this, they don't have the support. Maybe they don't have family support, or they're embarrassed to let their family know what's going on, or they're embarrassed to let their friends know what's going on. Because a lot of times they're like talking about this person and putting them up on a pedestal, and they don't want other people to know what's really happening. Um, and that's one thing. But like getting the help that they need, and you have to know when it's time to say enough is enough. I need to get out of this. Because when are you going to walk away? When are you going to protect yourself? We were not created to be abused in this way. We're not created to be taken advantage of in this way. I was listening to a comedian talk about women are so powerful. You want to possess one, you want to own one, or you want to become one. Like, that was funny, but it's like it's true. Like, these men, they want to possess the women, control them, and they end up, beating them and physically abusing them. And I was so upset by this sort. Like, I don't have words for it. I just want to talk about the physical abuse that we as women go through, and not having the help and the support, and not thinking, not, I feel like help is there, the support is there, but we're not looking in the right places. And unless you make a decision to get out of it, you're not going to get help. That's just my opinion. If you don't make the decision and you don't change and say, I am ready to leave this and walk away, the doors will not be open for you. The doors for you to walk through will not be open. And I may be wrong, but we are not supposed to be subjected to this kind of abuse and this kind of behavior. No way are we supposed to be tolerating that. It's not good for us mentally, physically. There is so much more happening to a woman when she goes through this. A lot of times it's them from low self-esteem, just wanting to be loved, just wanting attention, just it's sad that the person you get married to, you're screaming for them to notice you, and they notice you, and then they physically abuse you, that in that kind of way. And there's so many people that get trapped in this, and some people live their entire life in this situation. I have relatives that live their entire life in abusive relationship, and it's really sad because it's so normalized that nobody talks about it. People would see a woman being physically abused, being beaten up, and they would be like, "Oh, it's just a husband and wife issue. I'm not gonna get involved." I remember having a friend, and her husband hit on her, and I told her, I said, "You're gonna come, and we're gonna go straight to the police, and we're gonna report him. Has no right to touch him." And she was like, "No, this is normal." She's crying. And she came by me. And she spent some time, and she, after like a few hours, she decides she's gonna go back home to him because, oh, he calmed down. Everything is gonna be fine. They're still together, and that's their life. So it's it's really upsetting, like, um just trying to be there for someone that's going through this kind of situation. Yes, a lot of culture does normalize. A lot of culture does normalize it, and it, it's it's not only the woman that suffer; it's the kids that suffer. It's a cycle because when the woman is being abused, the kids see the daughters think it's okay for their husband to treat them that way. The son think it's okay. That's how you communicate to your wife by physical abuse. It's a cycle. It keeps going on generation and generation, and it never ends unless somebody puts a stop to it. You know, I know of someone. I was talking to my mom the other day. I was like, "Have you noticed this generation?" Um, it was someone close to us. She was married to a man who was abusive and drinking. Her daughter ended up getting married to the same exact type of person, and the granddaughter got married to the same exact type of person. And I'm like, have you noticed this cycle? Like generation after generation, it keeps recurring over and over and over. Nobody's doing it. Nobody, they all think it's normal. It's normal. They don't try to like break it or put a stop to it. Yeah, they usually feel like they should stay for the kids. Yeah, and the kids don't want to be there. That's true, Amina. That's very true. That's very true. A lot of times that's what they justify. Like, I'm gonna stay here for the kids, but it's a toxic environment to bring kids up in. You know, if you don't do the inner work, you're going to be stuck forever in that kind of situation. You're going to always be stuck in that kind of situation. I agree with you, Marwa. It's completely false. So, um, I want you guys to unmute and just share your opinion. It's just something like I am not an expert on this, but I think that's very upsetting to see women suffer this way and like thinking that they don't have the help or the support. But I honestly believe that when you make that decision that I want to leave, the help will come because Allah will help you get out of it. Allah will send the right people to take you to the next step, to take you away from that situation. You just have to trust in Allah.
Yes. So, wow, that is a huge, huge, huge topic. Um, there's so much to be said. It's just like levels and levels because when a woman gets to that point, she hasn't just been abused physically. It's been like it's a whole scheme starting with the mental spiritual abuse. Because for her to get to that point, that abuser has broken her spirit down. And this is what people don't understand. And that is even more detrimental than the actual physical abuse itself.
Yeah, the way she was talking is like she's
Yeah.
broke. Like
She's broken. Yeah. Yeah.
she's completely broken and she's being treated like a slave and for
Yep. But
years.
she's accepted it for years because before he got to the point where he's treating her that bad, it was never good, you know? But
Yeah.
there's levels to it, right? He had already broken her down. And she was probably from a background or from a home that kind of did that to her too. And she didn't realize it because it's so sad and it disgusts me. This is a very, very topic I'm so passionate about because it's just way too much. And even recently I told you about the whole situation that happened, Lolita, on the day of the Eid. And when you talk to these people, you see that culturally, to an extent, they're okay with a woman being abused
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're not killing her, because they think, oh, well, that's how men back home are. What the heck kind of stupid excuse is that?
Yeah.
That is not an excuse. You are not a man if you lay a finger on a woman. You are not, because that means you have no emotional IQ. You cannot regulate your nervous system, and you resort to the easiest thing to do, laying your hand on somebody.
They can't communicate.
No, they can't. They have no skills, and they've been given this false idea that there's some kind of, walking God on earth, astaghfirullah, well, I'm a man. She disrespected me, or she did something I didn't like, or
Other
so
things
who are
too, a
you?
lot of times when men are abusing women, it's because they're not um Like
Mhm.
they have issues with themselves, you know?
Yeah, they're egotistical.
Yeah.
You're right, Amina.
Child ego. Yeah. They have issue within themselves and they cannot express that. And they're just mad at themselves, so they're taking it out on the women.
Yeah. And they're raised probably by narcissistic parents. Something was wrong in that home that they came out of. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of. And it's so sad because this is all over, and especially in the Muslim Ummah. And I hate to say that, but it's true. It is true.
Mm.
Every culture, they have these false ideologies of what a normal relationship looks like, and that is just, it's disgusting, because Prophet Muhammad did not teach us that. If anything, his last sermon was be good to women. He repeated it 3 times.
Mm.
3 times. But no one listens to that. No one pays attention to that. I mean, I don't know this specific woman whether she's Muslim or not, but regardless, it's not a humane way to be treated. It is not.
It's just that women get trapped.
They
So,
get trapped, yeah, because their mind is messed up.
yeah.
So, like you said, she has to do a lot of inner work. And like you said, it is a decision, and it's a decision that she has to act upon, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what she thinks can or cannot happen. Because a lot of times they're not just they're broken, but they're financially abused. They're not given money. They're not given freedom with money, you know.
Mm.
So in every aspect, that abuser is taking away all her rights, all her freedom, so that she stays in that, cage, so to speak. So she's got to put a plan in place and just make that decision and just cold turkey, just do it,
And
because that is not a way to raise up kids. That's not a good
a lot of
environment for
a lot
children.
of times too, when women like step away from it, they get out of the relationship and then the man would come back and then they step right back into it again. Or they
Yeah,
might,
because of the gaslighting and the love bombing and all those psychological. That's what I'm telling you. The mind is so important that she makes that decision and doesn't go back on it. So she's got to work on her on her mindset. I don't know. It's just sad. It boils my blood.
yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. And it's very easy to judge women in these situations to be like, oh, why didn't she get out? Or why didn't she
Yeah.
walk? But there's a lot more going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It runs deep.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. That's why she stayed and stayed for so many years.
Oh my God.
It's just it's just crazy. It was just sad the way she was talking about her story and she's like basically screaming for help and people are telling her you must really like the abuse. That's why you stayed so long.
That is such a horrible, hurtful thing to say. And that is such, like you said, false judgment. No, if anything, that person needs compassion,
Yeah.
you know? But they need compassion with, a stern, this is what you need to do. You need to focus. Like, ask yourself, what do you want? What are the pros and what are the cons? Find ways to help yourself. I don't know. Is she in America? Is she here?
No, she's not over here.
Oh, yeah. See, at least here you can, there's help out there. You just
Oh,
have to find it.
yeah, there's help here. Like you
Yeah.
go to the police, they will basically put you on to the resources you need.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like people go through these kind of thing in all parts of the world.
Yes. Yes.
There's just
Yeah, and as you said, like it starts, a lot of it starts with spiritual abuse.
Mhm.
Women are made to believe, this is patience, this is sabr, this is
Yes.
ibadah,
Yes. You
and
go to any sheikh and that's what they'll
all those
tell you.
things.
I hate that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like even before getting married, there's this hadith of the someone going to ask the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about men that wanted to marry her, and one of the things he said about one of them, he said, okay, yeah, two of the ones that are relevant here, I guess. The one he said, one of them is poor. The other one he beats, and so he was advising her, and in this context of actually telling her not to marry someone who beats women.
Yeah.
Yeah, who beats women. So it does away with all of that. And over here we have very scarce resources for women. Because one of the things I see, the men are already doing this, but one of the things I saw when I was a while ago was that even the people that are trying to support, sometimes the mistake they make is not letting the person make the decision, grow into the space where they are able to make the decision for themselves. So it's being able to give that support until whoever it is in this relation grows so much self-esteem sometimes that they step out on by themselves. If not, they're more susceptible to the love bombing later, and like all of that. And there is at the beginning of my coaching, there was someone like that I supported. I can say that it seems as if at that time it was what allowed me to grow as well. Because what I saw was that this person had been beaten physically in front of her children, very badly beaten on her little kids. And so when we got someone for her working with the human rights to go and report it, she wasn't able to. Because at the end she said, I feel so much pity for him to be dragged into this. So at that time, I know that was, it wasn't going to be useful for me to say don't feel pity because she feels what she feels. And so after the second time of getting beaten and I got someone else for her, she would almost accept and then she would draw back. So at that time, I saw that there was no need to push her, but, to let her see, but just to let her see what decision she's making. I said, you've been having a lot of complaints, like in this marriage. You have these complaints, but you are choosing to feel this way for him. I'm not going to say anything, but I want you. So I said, so, you can't expect anything. So at that time, what was easiest for her to do was to grow herself, like financially. I said, okay, so you can't expect him. He has refused to do all these things for you. You demanding has led to all these things. So you can't be expecting from him. So by the time she grew in confidence, the man himself divorced her. And it said, it's somewhat, when I was ranting about before I got my certification, when I was ranting about it on a coaching group, someone said, here we don't fight the outside, like for these women in this organization. What we do is we empower someone so much, and there's nothing else to abuse. So I know, like in each situation, in each country, it's like we have different resources on it, but where you do not have those resources for someone to actually fight the battle, help battle without, then within, and that's exactly what happened to this person when she grew so much in confidence, and there was nothing like for him to abuse. He divorced her on his own.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't get out. And I was asking her, I said, she was struggling, so still struggling to make ends meet and all that. I said, how do you feel now being out? The one you were in, she said, and it was, just so automatic, like without confidence, without doubt. She said, oh, a lot of things I had, but I'm really glad I left. I'm grateful I left. I'm out of this. Yeah.
And she probably realized that there was nothing to fear in the beginning because he's weak. The minute she now had a voice, he was like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. And the
I
voice
mean, what
was
does
not
that
even
tell you? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it
weak,
was
how
not
so
even
weak and
anything to
insecure.
do with him. Yeah. And the
Exactly.
voice was not even anything to do with him because there was nothing about criticizing or demanding anything from him. Whatever she did, like she could do it herself. And so to
Yeah.
him, because she was not cowering before him anymore, because what he wanted was a victim and he no longer had a victim.
Exactly.
Wanted someone to
Yeah.
fix it.
Yeah.
And that's how these abusers are. Yep. They just
Yeah.
it's kind of psychotic in a way because they almost enjoy it. Some of them even enjoy it. They just need to have someone to abuse because it makes them feel good. And
Yeah.
that's their own problem. It's yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But good for her.
Yeah. And when I look at it, many people say it's a man's world. And I disagree. I said Allah's world is Allah's world. When they think it's their world, it's
Yeah.
temporary. Like whatever power they think. And I think society that supports it does a great disservice, not just to the women and the children, but to the men as well. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, where does a person like that end up?
That's true.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of these organizations they don't do the inner work with women. They do, they give you the resources you need to get out and all of that. But that was really amazing that you actually help her that way, Aisha, just to get out of that situation. Because a lot of times these women, they lack self-confidence and self-esteem, and they just think that, you know, they got to make themselves small and they got to shrink. They got to shrink themselves to stay, to be there
Yeah.
for someone else to control them, or it's just really, really sad. I was reading that story yesterday, and it was like so upsetting.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
It's like lagging a little.
Oh, no, okay, I can hear. Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes there's a bit of an echo, but I
Can't
don't
hear
know if
you.
it's from my side. Yeah. Okay, can you hear me, Mara?
I can hear
I
you.
can hear Aisha, yeah, but I wasn't hearing Lolita.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe it was the network going and coming.
Okay, yeah. Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was saying, a lot of times we shrink to fit into these people. We shrink ourselves and to fit into what they want us to be, you know? We shrink and to fit ourselves into what they want us to be. And when you step into your power, like what you were talking about, Aisha, as soon as she realized what her power was and she started embracing that and she stepped into it, he himself went away. So, once she stopped shrinking herself, he couldn't deal with it anymore.
Yeah. And the really sad thing about it is when family is involved, because it seems that even family, even when they love like their family members, I don't know if they're in denial of what's going on, but they keep on encouraging, either through because of fear or something else. They keep encouraging, just have patience, this is what are you going to do. And just today I was saying a lecturer, I think is it Yusuf Abu Hisham, or is it Hisham Abu Yusuf, and he was saying about that, what Allah promises. He said you stay and you stay because of fear, but Allah promises you have taqwa. He promises. He said, what are most people scared of? And people said economic hardship. And he said, but then Allah promises to make a way out for you
Yes.
if you're staying because of that fear.
Yes. That's so true. I read that surah, and it's really beautiful, like the door is open for you from the time you make that decision and you decide I'm going to trust Allah and Allah alone. Like help come to you, like so much help just come to you. Like the door's open and help comes from places that you don't even expect.
Yeah. That's Allah's promise. I mean, we have a whole surah about it. A whole surah. It's a small surah, but it's like so, I mean, Surah Talaq, which means divorce. Subhanallah, it's everything's in there. And Allah does talk a lot about money in that surah because that is the number one thing that keeps women in abusive relationship is money.
Yep.
Even some men are abused, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not as common, but there are some really, really crazy situations where even men are abused and they stay for the same reason because they feel a responsibility to the family or to
Yeah.
the children that they have to be there. So, I mean, it's not as common, obviously, as women, but it happens too. It's wrong, period. It's wrong, period.
Yeah. Mm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yep. It just it's just crazy, the cages we lock ourselves into.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it just might not just be physical abuse, it might be emotional abuse or um I'm gonna say Surah Mujadila,
Mujadila.
Yeah.
where
Mujadila.
Allah says he heard the woman.
Yeah.
Here, the top tier.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I'm gonna read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that one too because I
Mm.
think this is something that maybe even addresses scholars then, because this is a woman, she's speaking with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and she's, making her case, and then Allah hears her and supports her. And so, so no matter how high a scholar is, can they ever be as high as the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? And I think, in any way, in any place where the Rasul is,
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know, I'll say in quotation mark, corrected by Allah, I guess that is again a lesson to anyone who feels they're a high authority or has knowledge or like anything, because the Prophet ﷺ never does anything on his own
Yes.
but
وما
what
ينطق
has
عن
been
الهوى.
commanded by Allah. Yeah, so anytime if in any way he does something and then Allah, corrects it. So I guess it's that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Amina.
Yeah, it's just, women are so special to Allah.
Mm.
And we don't even realize the power we have and how close we are, you know. Um, just think about it. Like women are spiritual beings. Like women are a blessing. If you treat a woman right,
Yeah.
flourish.
Yes. And his life will become better too.
Yeah.
Even they say here, what do they say? A happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
Because it's so true, because we do things out of love, right? So if you have a loving husband, and he's a good husband, and he treats you right, he takes care of you, you feel safe, you feel seen, you feel loved, you feel adored, you feel all these things. Are you going to get up and make him breakfast with love? Yeah. Or are you going to be like, where's my food, blah blah blah, and all this disgusting words that come out of their mouth? No, you're not going to want to do it. You're going to want to put poison in that food. Not like you will, but you know what I mean. Um, yeah, they
No,
just don't understand. They're
Maria,
emotional.
sorry. Yeah. Yeah, what you said there, Mara, do you know it's actually happening? I listened to a scholar here in Nigeria, and so a woman had come to ask him to make her husband divorce her because she was forcefully married. So
Yeah.
while her father was alive, she didn't want to go against her father. But when her father died, she said you know, she really does not love this husband, and she feels if she stays with him, she's going to. In fact, she threatened that if he didn't divorce her, she was going to poison him. And
Yeah.
so the scholar called him and actually, you know, talked him into divorcing her. And so the scholar was he did a video addressing everyone. He said, do you know what happens when you force women to marry men?
Yeah.
So he was not even, they are not even thinking about beyond about the miserable life the woman will live, what depression or anxiety or other things the woman has
Mhm.
gone through, because now they are seeing the outward result. He said many women have poisoned their husbands.
Oh yeah, I
Wow.
Yeah,
believe
he
it.
said many women have, I would like it was when I heard it, I never thought about it, but when I heard it, it made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense because you can't, everybody has a different way that they react to being imprisoned because that is being imprisoned, like, isn't
Exactly.
it? Yeah.
Exactly.
So this is not even a husband that was maltreating her, maybe physically and other ways. Just the fact that she does not want to be married. That's one
Mhm.
of the reasons. Yeah, even the
Yep.
Prophet ﷺ let a
Yeah.
woman, even though he tried to also, advise her to stay, but she said, "Ya Rasulullah, is this a command or like is that a command?" And when he said no, she said, "I'd rather leave." So if the Prophet ﷺ can let a woman go, then who else? So unfortunately, this is what has resulted in even you know
Um, yeah.
poison
That's
spouses.
why there's the khula. You cannot
Yeah,
force anyone to stay with anyone they cannot stand. SubhanAllah, you just can't do it. That takes away your humanity. It takes away your free will. We are born free people. We cannot just be forced into situation because mommy and daddy deem necessary or because whatever reason. And that's what they've been doing. But you cannot do that. Like you said, it's a prison. And when a woman feels trapped, it is the worst feeling on the planet. When you feel like you have nowhere to go and you hate this person, you can't see, you don't want to even look in his face, let alone be a wife. You cannot do it. It is against human nature. So I wouldn't, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised. Like it's either I'm gonna be there because I want to be, I choose to be, I'm happy there, I'm comfortable, and all the good stuff is gonna come out. Or yeah, you're getting rat poison in that food. I can see it. I would never do it, but I can, because I know that feeling. Unfortunately, it's a horrible feeling.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess maybe it's just here to because this is a recording, but for anyone listening to know that if you ever feel in any way feeling like harming yourself or someone else,
Yeah.
what is better to stay in this situation or to find a different
Yeah.
solution?
Yeah. Get out.
Yes.
Get out.
Agreed. Get out. Don't hurt yourself or anyone else. Not worth it. Get out. It's a lot easier than you think. There is light at the end of that tunnel.
A lot of times too, women internalize these things and it actually affects them
Yeah.
physically, you know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. It's not worth it getting sick over anything or anyone.
yeah,
It's not
a
worth it.
lot of times when you're in these type of situation, you hold that anger in and those emotions, and you end up, manifest it in your body, and you end up getting sick from it. So yeah, it's just really crazy, if anyone is in this situation and they need help, need someone to talk to, you can always reach out. There's always people. There is people. Now we have social media, and like everybody can connect to each other. You can always reach out to someone, on maybe a stranger, a total stranger that will listen to you. Don't even have to state your name. I'm sure there's a lot of groups on Facebook or Instagram or whatnot that you can join that can give you the support, or, you know, hook up with a coach or somebody to empower yourself. Because if you don't do the work in yourself, you will stay stuck forever. You have to work on yourself. You have to take your power back. So it's really sad to see people in these type of situation for such a long time. And I know of situation where women get out of it and then they end up getting murdered after they got out. So don't wait. It just keeps escalating, Don't stay in that type of situation. Just try to get out of it as fast as possible. The earliest sign, walk away. The first sign, walk away. Don't stay stuck. Work on yourself. Because the more you work on yourself and the more you do the inner work that you need and you build your confidence, the more you realize that nobody has that power over you unless you give it to them. Nobody can harm you unless you allow them to do that. So, okay. I don't know if, yes, go ahead, Aisha.
So, yeah, something I came across said sometimes emotional abuse doesn't start looking like emotional abuse when the abuser is trying to, get you to be compliant. So sometimes it's asking you things that don't seem wrong. But and so anyone who hears that wonder, oh yeah, what's wrong with what you're being asked to do? But you have a feeling about it, even when you're being asked to do something and it doesn't seem in any way wrong, you sort of have your intuition tells you there is something wrong.
Yeah.
And so it's always good, to listen to the intuition, even if, logically something you can't put a finger on why you're feeling, that way, even with something that little, at least you can seek help
You know,
before it becomes.
what you're talking about, Sister Aisha, that's a whole topic by itself. But listening to your intuition, a lot of times we silence our intuition so much that we don't even hear it anymore.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
silence it so much that we don't hear it anymore. It keeps telling us, walk away, move away. This is not good for you. This is not right. This is not right. And you stay stuck because you keep not listening to it. But what if? What if? What if I stay? What if this man will change? That's a whole nother topic. We stay with men for the potential. They're going to change. They're going to be this person that we want them to be sometime down the road. They're going to stop being abusive. Stay in a relationship because they might change. Or, we silence our intuition so much that after a while we're deaf to it. We don't hear it. And I'm saying that because I was that person. I was that person that used to silence my intuition. I used to not listen. And that's a superpower we have as women. And if you keep silencing it, after a while you don't hear it. So what you're saying is so true. Listen to your intuition and move, do what you're supposed to do. But a lot of times we're just like, oh, but what if he mean well? When physical abuse don't start just by physical abuse. It starts by emotion. It starts by verbal. It starts by psychological. It starts by all these other things before it moves to physical. And when these things are happening, you keep silencing yourself. You silence your your intuition and you keep telling yourself, "Oh, I probably misunderstood. I probably didn't hear right, or I didn't listen, or I was probably confused, or this didn't really happen." You know, and you keep silencing yourself all the time and you keep feeling like you're crazy. You keep telling yourself that it's crazy. This is not what really happened. And you say it because of the potential. A lot of women, if you talk to them, you will hear them tell you they expect the man to change. They stayed because of potential. They got married to a man because of the potential that that man has. Oh, he's going to be that person. And that's a whole different topic that we can probably talk about next week. But it's a big topic of as women we pick the wrong men and we stay for potential. We pick them because of potential, not because of what they're showing us. They're showing us exactly what they are, and we're like, oh no, but he can change. Oh no, but he can do better. Oh no, he this can, this will not be this way. And then when it actually happened, we're like, oh my God, that's not what I signed up for, but he will change. And we stay stuck. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a whole different topic by itself to discuss. And I know this topic is a big topic and we can't really get into too much details. But it's just a lot of stuff are interconnected with physical abuse. And I'm sure you've seen that, Aisha, working with clients.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what you said made sense because when we marry because of potential and stay because of potential, so we're basically always living in the future rather than living in the present and acknowledging what is going on right now. And with that lack of clarity, what brings clarity again, like is like taqwa. Getting one of those is like being present and being self-aware and being conscious of Allah. Because when you're that, then you are living the future to Allah and you are dealing with whatever it is here in the present. And so, with regards to the future, you're getting your, I think, your wisdom, like from your wisdom, the more clear you are, the more you're getting that wisdom from Allah because you can't see the future. But right here, it allows you to see what is right there in front of you and not be in denial. And then you are able to make the decision that is wise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just it's really sad. We all get trapped in that potential. What
Yeah.
be? Oh, it's gonna be this way. This is what I want, and it's gonna happen. But you don't face
Yeah.
don't face the present, as you said. You're not living in the present moment. You're living in the future. And we're always told that you have to live in present. Future is not
Yeah.
it's not promised to us. So
Yeah. It's really tricky. Yeah. It can be really tricky, that because looking at that potential, it looks so real, it looks so attainable, and then you keep forgetting what is happening right now.
yep, yep, very true. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. I'm gonna post the recording up and share it. I just hope more people are aware and know that there's help out there. You can just reach out. There will always be someone that will be there to help you. You just need to want the help and make a decision. It's your life, make a decision, and the help will come. You know, when you make that decision to leave, Allah always sends the help. Like in anything, you make a decision to do certain things, the help comes, the information comes to you. You see it everywhere. For example, think about it. If you go to your phone and you're thinking that um you're thinking about the particular let's say you want to buy maybe a new dress and you're thinking, "Oh, I need to buy this dress." You will see dresses in your phone. All these sites are going to pop up, right? It comes to you, it aligns to you. Whatever you're looking for is looking for you. So if you're looking for help to get out of a particular situation you're in, the help will come to you. The help will be there. You just have to keep looking. The signs will be there. So thank you everyone for joining. This was a really interesting topic, and I know we haven't really touched much on it. It was just like an overview we were discussing, but there is there is a lot more to talk about on this particular topic. So thank you everyone. We'll do a follow-up. Maybe I'll get someone to talk more on this. Someone who can, shed more light on this particular topic of physical abuse and be able to help us through it. So thank you everyone.
Thank you. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.